Originally, course leaders were looking for ways of the students reflecting and recording their in-school performance, and hence the digital video camera, so that they could, if necessary, be recorded taking a lesson by their mentor or their visiting tutor there, and then they'd be able to look back and reflect and change their practice there. And the same with the stills. The students needed evidence of work that they did with the children, how the children reacted. And that's how it came to be the cameras.
Now this is the latest version. Some schools might not have this latest version, and the key things about the latest version is there's a little screen, so the children can hold it and look at what they're videoing. That means children...
It was considered at the time that also the students having these pieces of technology, the cameras, it would help them to involve themselves more in ICT in the classroom, especially as they're 3 to 7 students. A lot of ICT in the early years is not related to a computer, and the camera is a powerful medium there to use. And so there was that thought behind it. And by giving the students their own little bit of technology, it made sure that everybody had an equal entitlement to do it. We could expect them to take photographs and use them throughout the course, really. We found that the students having the cameras gets them involved in ICT straight from the start. It gives them a confidence. This isn't for those people that aren't happy with computers. They are confident with a camera, and it leads them on to the next thing and the next thing. And there's quite an ICT buzz here. As I say, we've got the laptops, one each when they come in here, the facilities to transfer their pictures. There's a real buzz and people sharing ideas and doing things with the cameras that has made them, I feel, a lot more confident in what they do. The biggest success was being able to take the cameras home. They're small enough to do that. And then it was related really to the activity that they had to do. So they had to go in and take 5 pictures that tell a story, and then come back the next week and turn that into a presentation. So there was a task to do, but this thing was small enough to carry about. You could give it to the children and not worry about it because it belonged to the college, she said, so they could be more adventurous with it. So the whole camera thing was the quick win in itself.
They're cheap and cheerful, though they're robust and sort of child-friendly as well. So giving a child my sort of Lumix thing wouldn't be a thing I would have felt comfortable doing. But knowing that I can give them this sort of robust plastic thing and have them go around taking pictures of each other, it's certainly something that I have more confidence in doing.
You just give them, you see them walking around, filming each other, and there's like always a long queue to see, you know, I want it next, I want it, so.
It just becomes part of the classroom scenery, and they get used to it. And I think children these days are used to different technology like that in a way that we weren't as children. It's much more common to see things like this in classroom. And I think, especially with interactive whiteboard and photos, they don't blink twice at it now. It's just everyday stuff.
Everybody's used a camera in their life nowadays. They know how to use it, they get used to it, they can quickly apply it in a curriculum context. And that was the important thing. And I have to say, even though it was introduced in an ICT session, it was introduced in a series of curriculum contexts. So the students were pointed to or involved themselves in conversations about how to use it.
I think that one of the main things is that children just love, whatever ICT you're using, they love having their photo taken, they love playing on the interactive whiteboard. So it's such a motivating thing from that point of view. You've got your kids really excited from the outset.
You don't have to worry about the technology, but you can spend time with the students discussing what 5 pictures telling a story might be about, where it would fit into it, how you would do it for literacy, or how it would support a geography activity. And so them having the cameras and feeling confident, that bit becomes transparent, and you can get on with the pedagogy of teaching and learning related to the cameras.
From the kids' point of view, you can use it for assessment in the way that you take a picture of, let's say, in a reception class, they're in a role play area and they're acting out a scenario. You take a picture of that and then you can evidence that, so that could work that way. And for me, cameras has been fantastic with, I've taken pictures of their work and I've used that as a learning tool. And the kids have looked back, they've been excited seeing the pictures of themselves. And it's worked really well, it's encouraged them with the subject.
I made some volcanoes with the children. Then I got one of the children, we went all outside into the playground, so they filmed it. Then there was a big, well, it wasn't a big explosion because it didn't go too brilliant, but it was okay.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, not very good one.
That looks like wee-wee.
And then we all went back to the class, put it on the interactive whiteboards, they could all watch it again. Then I made some individual ones with the children, so take pictures of groups. They could watch each other, talk about it. Then you could reinforce the learning that took place.
We did a sound walk as well for recorded sounds. We brought that back, and each time we replayed it, the children got more and more out of it, and it was just never ending. It went on and on and on, and the vocabulary increased, everything increased, and the whole learning experience increased.
A student told me last year in her learning log that the children got to the stage of going up to the teacher and saying, "Come and take a picture of this. We've just done this. Go and get your camera and take the picture." So the children in classrooms, in some of the classrooms, it became engaged in that and wanted, and so it's a model really for the children as well, an ICT model there to engage them. And it's the whole thing, it's transparent, it's easy to use, everybody's confident, and that confidence builds throughout the course and into school.
I had one little boy in my previous school. We were assembling number lines and he didn't want anything to do with the number line at all. Multiple attempts to get him involved and interested in putting this number line together, didn't want anything to do with it, and in fact was causing a bit of trouble. But we gave him this thing here and he was away. He was filming the other children building the number line, checking it, making sure everything was in the right place, and really interacting with the other children, giving them feedback on whether they had got the numbers in the right place or not. So just that type of example goes to show that it can be a very powerful and useful tool in helping children with maybe special educational needs issues, difficulties in accessing the lesson plan itself, or if English is an additional language, it's a great tool for reviewing what you've done without having to explain it in words because it's visual.
That's right. I did a thing last week with 2 children from Kosovo. They'd only been in the school 2 weeks. So we went around the school, took photos and obviously printed them out. Then we made a big book for them to start learning the English vocabulary. They need something visual to, and they love the whiteboard. Even if they're not really understanding what you're saying, they can see it on the board.
I've worked with 2 boys, both EAL, English as an additional language, and they were quite shy and apprehensive about actually joining in class conversations. But in using the smartboard in particular, they were quite confident and they used it to engage, and all of a sudden they were playing from the same platform as the other children, and it built their confidence, and this fed into other areas of their learning as well.
Yeah, I used the camera for a child with SEN, and she had behavioural problems with obviously lining up and sitting down in the classroom, hanging her coat up, things like that. And we used the camera, she loved it so much, and we took photographs of her doing those activities, and then that helped her. We used to show her the picture and she used to just do the thing straight away.
And then annotate it so that you can show it to the children on the whiteboard. But few of you have brought photographs that probably lend themselves to making
pictures of the children throughout the day and in different activities, and then it gave the opportunity for the parents. We invited them in to see the photographs and share. The children could share with their parents what they'd been doing, and it helped them explain, and the parents could see visually. And then we had on the interactive whiteboard, we had the videos of what the children had been doing throughout the week. For example, we made kites, and then the children flew them in the playground, and then we filmed them, and then the children were able to watch that back and then share with their parents what they'd done.
I used a wiki, an open source wiki, and set it up as a simple VLE, and so each student has a page on there, and the expectation is that each week they jot something down about their personal ICT use, something they've seen in school, or if they're having a bad week, something they've seen in the great outside world related to ICT. Out of that comes me knowing what they're doing, them sharing good practice, so that all of the students, I do suggest that students comment on one another's work, and they do there, so that they're sharing what they're doing, so that spreads out, so that's less work for me to do that, but it spreads out there. That those of us who look at it, myself and other members of the course, also have an idea how the students are developing. So it's proved really valuable for the students. Sometimes a challenge for them to do it every week, because they're very busy, very, very busy. But certainly we've got a broad idea what's going on in schools.
Did you want that to be the first one?
We've seen people experimenting with putting their pictures up online. Last year we had people putting their videos online. They put up, when they found an interesting site, they share it with somebody, or they share their sorrows and whatever. And this, just at the moment, they're very excited about their second placement, and so their entries, and they are excited, their entries are about what ICT is there, and now that they're more experienced, what they could do with the ICT that's there in the schools.
The wiki has been very helpful actually, because we've got to keep in contact with everyone in the class. So we all know where we're at. We know from some students use it more than others, and they've updated us on how a certain lesson has gone. And that's encouraged us, because we're all using the same curriculum, and that's worked. We've also uploaded pictures, we've commented on what sort of useful websites to use as well. So we've taken that on board, and if it's helpful for us, we could use their work, basically.
The vast majority of the lessons that I've planned have the interactive whiteboard involved, and every interactive whiteboard file that you write, a flip chart, can be uploaded onto the wiki if you want to share it if it's been particularly successful. But also you can access wikis from all around the world and see what good practice or best practices in terms of what's going on in literacy in New Zealand, for example. And you can read blogs and look at their wikis and things as well.
And steal their lessons.
And steal their lessons, absolutely. Why not?
Well, not steal, you can adapt their lessons.
Yeah, well, there's no point in reinventing the wheel, is there?
No.
There's already a wheel out there,
It's been, and the wiki's been really, really good, so that we can all keep contact with one another, and Tricia can keep, our tutor can keep an eye on us for how we're progressing, little gentle reminders, but it's been excellent.
It is about making this course perhaps more cohesive there, and keeping the tutor in touch with the students. So it's added value, really. The cameras are just so valuable. There's this business of memory for people, that you see images and children begin to remember and recount what they're going to do. They enhance your project. You can use them for planning, take photographs and create a storyboard and plan a book. You can take photographs on your geography trip and then put it on a map. We have a piece of software on the laptops, and this particular piece of software, you can just drop the pictures onto a map so easily, or sound as well, so that children can illustrate maps there. For science, I mean, just think about in science how you can record the growth of the bean or the growth of the ducklings. Mind you, I'd use digital video then for that, really, but and so it fits in every area. PSHE doing faces about I'm happy, I'm sad. So many areas. It's just a tool all the way through the curriculum, and a really powerful one.
It's cross-curricular, you can use it in all subjects. It works very well in English, where you can have like a quick warm-up game, and it works well with interactive stories. And the kids that I've worked with have loved interactive stories, and the ones that I've shown them, which are traditional tales, they've requested it on, and they keep wanting that one. And from science, you can show them clips of like a flower growing, which is not possible with a normal in a real life scenario. So yeah, it's worked really well.
Over the last year, some other tutors have invited me to do a session with them so that they can get to know more about ways of using ICT in their subject. So we have little team teaching sessions, and I've done that in science, literacy and maths there. And what has grown out of that is, and they've admitted this, an increased confidence in knowing where the ICT will fit in the curriculum, including the use of these of the cameras that we bought specifically, and the 23 laptops that we've got. So over that time, it's given people the confidence, and now, in particular, a couple of tutors in particular, actually are going to do it by themselves in the next year, because they've watched, they've joined in, they've researched for themselves, and they can see where to go, and it's time for them to do it. And there's an atmosphere growing, an ethos growing, that ICT is the key. During next year, and then in the following years, individual tutors will have ICT embedded, and much of the ICT teaching will be there. So a scenario might be, in week two, the English tutor may well introduce the cameras, and she may well be the one that sends them off to take 5 pictures that tell a story, rather than me. I do feel very positive about the way teaching and learning is happening with our students, the pedagogy, you might say, of how they're using ICT in the curriculum there. They're confident students, they can see ways of using it without thinking about it. They can plan and say, we could use the camera there, we could use this programme there. And so I see changes, yes, certainly here.